Is Cameroon the killer of dreams? From cues to the groundnut tray. That is a post that I fell on Facebook. It's written by Dr. Nyencho, the Saint Man, apparently. When I saw that, it spoke a lot to me. I am a medical doctor. I am a medical doctor by training, and I do not practice medicine right now. I get a lot of shit for it. From my parents, from family, from a lot of people. People who have contributed to me being a medical doctor. People who have not contributed, close family, extended family, and all. And so when I saw this post, I just thought, I went down in the comments and I wanted to write something, and then I thought, well, these days I'm putting myself on the internet, so I'm just going to make a video about it and maybe give my thoughts, read the article or read the post, and then maybe it's going to start a larger discussion with all of that. So here it goes. So the post says, is Cameroon the killer of dreams? From cues to the groundnut tree. If you had told me years ago that a graduate from the number one medical school of Cameroon, CUS Oye, the prestigious CUS, the Faculty of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences, would end up selling groundnuts in the market to survive, I would have sworn it was impossible. I would have called it a lie from the pit of hell. And that is so true. If you told me many years ago, when I was still very young, when I was writing the concours to get into the medical school, I actually wrote the concours 3 times to get into the medical school. Actually, the 3rd time that I wrote was out of a lot of pressure, family pressure. They were like, no, if you had written 2 times and you were good. I think when we were still writing the entrance exam, there was the written part and then there was the oral part. And I used to ace the written part, but I would go to the orals, and maybe it was that I was too young or whatever, but I didn't get in. Twice. There were 2 years of my life in which I started studies in UB. I was doing biochemistry in UB, that's the University of Boya. And after those 2 years, I was still preparing and everything. But the 3rd time, I was like, let me just go and finish Boya. Let me get my degree and start to look for my life or whatever. This writing concours thing. And my uncles were like, no, you are a very intelligent man. Go and write concours, go and write Qs and everything. And so there's this perception of how you are looked when you become a medical doctor in Cameroon. It's like when you get to that school, it's almost like your whole family has put they have put all their hopes. You are like the pride of the family. You are like the one who is carrying the prestige of the family. And worse for me, I was like the first person in my family to get into the medical school. And just like they rightly said here, the prestigious CUS, that is the number one medical school of Cameroon. That's the first ever medical school in Cameroon. So if somebody told you that you are going to go to that school, finish from that school, actually get a diploma from that school, and then be doing like photography in my case, or let me say content strategy, because I'm a content strategist. Content strategy in my case, or content production, or all of this. Or like for the case that Dr. Nyenchu is writing here, a groundnut seller. I would have called it a lie from the pit of hell. So he continues, but today I stood face to face with my own classmate, a colleague, a man who buried himself in anatomy, physiology, pathology for 7 long. Oh my God! And I did 8 years in that school actually. Yeah. Anyways, that's a story for a different time. I did 8 years in that school. So to do 8 years in the school and 7 long years, it's here, and then finish with that. And instead of a stethoscope around his neck, he had a measuring cup in his hand. When I asked him why, his answer was a dagger to the heart. This groundnut business gives me what many hospitals in Yaoundé cannot. That's a very bitter truth. Very, very bitter truth. And the thing is, a lot of our parents do not understand this. A lot of our family members do not understand this. You have gone to all of this school. Cameroon is a very funny place. You have gone to all of this school. CUS again for that matter, because going to CUS, we pay a measly 50,000 francs for school fees to do medical studies. I don't think there's any place in the world where you pay 50,000 francs for medical studies. 50,000 francs is like, that's how many dollars? That's like $100. That's like 120. That's like $120 for school fees per year for medical studies. And at the end of that medical studies, I think when I left school, in order to, I think my batch was one of the last batches where they had like direct integration. So you do that, you finish, and so that, just so you know, the government is actually subventing your schooling at the tune in the tunes of like 950,000 francs. Give Say the school fees was like a million francs. They are subventing your studies for 950,000 francs per year. They basically pay for your medical studies, and at the end, instead of them sending you into their hospitals and everything, which is actually very needed, you now have to write another entrance exam in order for you to get into the public service. That's crazy. It's like they really say, if they explain you this country and you understand, know that that person did not explain it very well. I swear to God. So the bitter truth: since the government halted the direct, that's what I was just talking about, and systematic recruitment of doctors around 2020, our healers is also have been left to the mercy of a private sector that proposes pocket change as salaries. How do you offer a pittance to someone who spent almost a decade mastering the art of saving lives? The absurdity, the math isn't mathing. That math isn't mathing. Because I remember after, with a lot of pressure, I actually started doing photography and videography while I was still in school. Because, well, by my fourth year, I understood how Yaoundé works. I understood at least the one advantage that we really get when we go to QS. I think it's a different experience from others who go to like FHS, that's the Faculty of Health Science in Boya, and maybe that in Douala, maybe up to an extent that in Douala, and Colandom, that's also in Yaoundé, but whatever, it's a private university. I think the difference that we have between and them is that, for the most part, by the time you are getting out of that school, you understand the country in which you live in. I know they said if you explain Cameroon to you, you will not understand, but they don't have to explain it to you. You live through it, and then you are going to understand what it actually means to go through level 1 to level 7 in the Faculty of Medicine and Biomedical Science. You understand the country in which you live in. You would understand that in order for you to survive, there's a certain way that you need to move. There's a certain type of mindset that you need to have, because there's nobody going to come and save you. You have to save yourself. And if you are not powerful enough, if you do not have a powerful mindset, if you are going to be proud, if you are going to think that because medicine is a noble profession, there's nothing else that you can do, if you think that is the only skill that is going to be able to get you to survive in this country, you are lying to yourself. Not that you cannot survive in this country, because there are a lot of opportunities in this country. There are a lot of opportunities in this country. I used to say, we have a lot of opportunities here, but you kind of have to work hard in order to find it. Contrary maybe to other places, maybe overseas, I don't know very much, but it seems the opportunities are begging you to come in. Even though I personally think the opportunities that are actually meaningful opportunities, you still have to work very hard to get those opportunities. But yeah, they kind of have a semblance, but whatever, for something else. So, because when we were in school, there were so many people in school who started doing a lot of different things in order to survive, even as a student in the medical school. I remember there's this guy, Nana. He just became known as Le PDF because he started the whole PDF business, where he was the one doing the getting notes in PDF forms, all the assignments, all the workbooks, and all types of things. He became go-to person for whatever photocopy book you needed, and he was really raking in the cash. And that is when you really know that. And that really had nothing to do. It's just he saw an opportunity and he seized that opportunity, and he really pushed himself a lot to the class and everything. And before you knew it, he was like the PDF in the whole school. It's almost like nobody ever thought about doing that. Or maybe you would think in this kind of a school, it's we are doctors, we are dentists, we are pharmacists. We cannot lower ourselves to do photocopy, to go and give it to the photocopier, and the photocopier is going to take care of it. But he decided to take it on himself, and that is what he did throughout his time in that school, and even after, because I think we even had like a project we wanted to work on after he was trying to expand into other things. And that is the story of someone who has gone to school in Jomelen, because young melon is going to give you high blood. If you need a certain, like I said, it gives you a certain mindset. You have to really understand the country in which you live in. So when I even saw this post, I was not surprised that there's a medical student who is selling groundnuts in the market. And now, even coming to, I get very passionate about this thing because it's something that it's something that I live. I've not even gone halfway. And anyways, so how do you offer a pittance to someone who spent almost decades mastering the art of saving lives? The absurdity. So the private sector is very tricky, very, very tricky, especially for newer doctors who just got out of the school. When I got out, I decided I was going to continue pursuing my photography and videography because I already had started having clients. I wasn't doing much during the week, so I used that time to take and learn more on my skill and get better at it so that I could offer a lot better services. And all the time, when my mother comes and sees me in the house, she's like, "What are you doing in the house? Go and apply to this hospital. Go and apply to hospital." And the way that most of my people were surviving that time, they were surviving on calls. You go, you have like, after you go for a call, they pay you what is 5,000 francs. And I was like, nah, that's not gonna be me. That is not going to be me. I'm not going to go and kill myself under mosquitoes with all these mosquitoes that are even in this Yaoundé to work the whole night. That is like from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. for 10,000 francs. I was like, nah. And I know what happens in hospitals. I know there's also the petit narco or whatever. So after all the pressure, I finally got a job in a hospital in Douala, where I was there for 5 days, and I had to leave Douala, come to Yaoundé during the weekends to serve my clients, whether it's for photography or videography. And I can tell you that at the end of each month, what I did from photography in a week or two was more than what I was paid for 5 days work for 1 month in that hospital. That was a private hospital. Of course, I have nothing. It's a tough gig. Having been able to run a hospital in our places, it's tough, and I understand it. And there's only so much money that could go around. There are only so much patients that could go around, and I don't blame them. It's not their fault, but it's just the reality. And now you start to ask yourself, if I can be selling my groundnuts and I'm making a lot more in a month than what you guys are paying me to come and be doctor from 1st to 31st, then why am I doctoring? Why? Better I go and sell my groundnuts, right? Why better I go and sell my groundnuts? You have spent 7 years to learn work that selling groundnuts is going to be paying you more than that. So why am I going to do that? If you stay there, is really just because maybe of family pressure or because of the prestige that comes with it. So why? So I did that for 6 months. I was in the hospital there for 6 months, and they still owe me 3 months salary. So it's a story for another day. But yeah, so that's the reality. So when I saw this, I was like, damn. So he continues. He says, here's the part that will make your boy. I don't know if your blood is already boiling right now, but yeah. So while my colleague is packing his certificate under a box, data from the Ministry of Public Health of 2024 showed that there was a massive shortage of over 68,000 healthcare personnel nationwide. There is a shortage of over 68,000 healthcare personnel nationwide. That's why I said, if they explain Cameroon to you, oh my God. So the country needs 68,000 more health workers to function. The government has maintained a hiring since 2020. You know, when the virus of unknown origin came, that is just when we were leaving school. And we all thought, oh, they are going to need a lot of medical doctors now. So this whole integration thing is just going to be, oh, hey, everybody get in there. We have a shortage of doctors. We have a shortage of this. Get in there and start working. Save our people, lockdowns or whatever. How are they calling them? Necessary personnel or whatever. But no, freeze, no word. We didn't get anything. So I was just like, le Cameroon, c'est le Cameroun, as they say. So the result, private clinics offer insulting salaries, like I said. Some of them, it's not really their fault. because you work in those hospitals and you see how they are also struggling. It's really tough. And our best doctors are forced to sell groundnuts to eat, while those who can are forced to travel out in search of greener pastures. One word more, the brain drain continues. Like, since I've been doing this, I've had like, I don't know, 4 or 5 of my classmates come and see me to do pictures for them for their documents to fall up to go abroad to fall bush. So yeah, like, what's happening here? So it's almost like a known fact in the ethos of medical doctors that the only way you can really make it is, or the next step after actually getting your degree or your doctorate here, is to write the USMLE. That is the way for doctors to go to the US now. And we are very intelligent. I think our doctors in Cameroon are really very intelligent. The doctors especially that come out of QS, very intelligent. I think even a lot more intelligent than all the other schools combined, because la pression, oh my god. I don't want to say, but it's like you basically have to teach yourself. But la pression that we go through in QS is crazy. So if it is not in you, if you are not very passionate about it, you will not survive for very long in QS. So there are those guys, really good guys, very intelligent guys, and that's the path. It's almost like that's the path. He continues. How do we have a shortage of doctors and employed doctors at the same time? And how do we have a shortage of doctors and unemployed doctors at the same time? It's a paradox of systemic failure. A mandate for the youth. Like I said, if Sion explique le Cameroun, we were told this mandate belonged to the youths and women. We are months in, and the only move I see is the movement of more specialists from the consulting room to the street corners for survival. After I shared this my classmate's story with one of the directors of CRTV in the north, he was in total shock, and he said he would like to cover the story because the public needs to. Young people are not lazy. They are being suffocated by a system that refuses to use the very talents it trained. May God have mercy on our nation. Oh, and this is our doc at the Nouveau Bloc Pédagogique. So yeah, I guess, yeah, just like I was saying at the beginning, I wanted to start writing. Then I realized I have too much to say. Yeah, there's really a lot to say. And well, in conclusion, if anybody gets to see this, either from you have a child who is in your family who is a medical doctor who has gone to medical school and is starting to do something else which you do not approve or which you see like a lowly job, just give them some grace. A lot of grace is going to go a long way. You have no idea the type of things they have to actually go through to survive as a medical doctor in Cameroon. I think the best time to really hit that iron really is when they leave immediately, because most of those problems come immediately when you leave. And by the time we start to sell our groundnut, we start involving ourselves in many other things, it becomes more and more difficult for us to get back. Like now, I don't really see myself getting back into the hospital. I used to say sometimes I've become a business person. I'm going to use my degree, my medical degree, in order to support a certain business venture that I've always had in mind to do. And I guess I'm going to come out here, since I'm now on the internet. I'm going to come out here and tell you guys about it, right? But yeah, just give our young doctors a lot of grace, because it's tough out here. This country is tough for everybody, and especially if you're not giving him anything, just leave him in peace. People should leave me in peace. If anybody has anything, they should write in the comment section. If you have my number and you have anything to say, then write it to me directly. Like and subscribe. To my channel, people. Yes, Dr. Ninchuo, the Senseman, thank you very much for the posts. And wow, it was kind of a therapy. I'm saying I've decided to use the internet this time around, like my own fun time, and I'm going to use it out. I'm not going to just be watching content on it anymore. I'm going to be making some content as well. Those were my thoughts on Is Cameroon the Killer of Dreams? From QS to the granite tree, or in my case, from QS to the studio. Bye.